Welcome back. Hey, everybody. We are going to go ahead and jump into Chapter 6 review. We're not going to do a biblical integration today just because we have a review for this test and we want to make sure that we're getting through the material. So we'll pick up our biblical integration with our next lesson. What I would advise you to do is go ahead and take your practice test. There's answers at the bottom of it. And they're indicated with that little red asterisk if you didn't know that. Go ahead and take it. Grade yourself. And then come back and watch this video. And I'm going to go over every question. You can skip around to the questions that you need. There's no need to sit here and watch it if you're understanding the concepts, okay? So let me go ahead and we'll go over each question of this. And then you can get started on your homework. And bring up my smooth draw. So this chapter was all about exponents and polynomials and how we deal with them. All right. Let me get this squared away. Then we'll go ahead and get started. So number 1 here, it says your answer should contain only positive exponents. So we're going to simplify each problem that we have here. And what we want to do is we want to simplify it and get rid of negative exponents. In math, we don't like to deal with negative exponents because you really can't use them as negative exponents. You have to rewrite them to get rid of them. And remember, to rewrite negative exponents positively, you move them to the bottom. Or if they're negative in the bottom, you move them to the top. So you move them back and forth. So to rewrite this with positive exponents, you simply move any negative exponent to the bottom and change it to positive. And then 1's already there. So that's your answer. The 4 stays at the top because it doesn't have a negative exponent. And both of these move to the bottom. So C is your answer. All right. Let's look at number 2 here. Number 2 is adding this new concept of 0 exponents. And remember our rules. When we're multiplying exponents, you add them. When we're raising exponents, you multiply them. So if we're multiplying these here, we can go ahead and add them. So it's going to be 2a. Doesn't combine with anything, so it stays -1. The b's do combine. And then you add the exponents since we're multiplying this. 0 plus 3 is 3, so it's just b to the 3rd. And now we got to rewrite it just like we did number 1 with the negative exponents to the bottom. So the 2 stays to the top, the b to the 3rd stays to the top, and then the a to the 1 moves to the bottom. And that's how you deal with that. Also remember, b to the 0 is always just 1. So number 3 I'm not going to write down because it's simple. We're going to rewrite that with positive exponents. There's only 1 negative, so it's going to come to the bottom. So it's going to be 1 over m. All right, here's our next one. All right, so remember our 3's cancel out, so we can just go ahead and cross those out. And then you're going to rewrite this doing our properties of exponents. So there's n can't combine with anything, so it just stays n. And then remember, m, what do you do with the exponents when you're dividing them? You just subtract them, so it becomes 4 minus 0. Well, that reduces to n times m to the 4th. Okay? All right, now we're going to deal with numbers. So it's the same thing, only there's numbers instead of letters. So I always advise you to take this one step at a time because these can get kind of confusing if you don't. I'm going to bring up this whole page here because I'm going to need room to work. Okay, so we'll do the top and then we'll do the bottom and then we'll do the division and then we'll get rid of the negative exponents. That's how we'll work this. So let's go ahead and do the top. Remember, when you have an exponent raised to an exponent, you multiply them. So this becomes 2 to the negative 4 times 0. And remember, when you're multiplying exponents, you add them. So this becomes 2 to the 1, because that's to the 1, right? Plus 3. This equals now 2 to the 0, because negative 4 times 0 is 0. 2 to the 4. Okay. When you're dividing exponents like this, you subtract the exponents. So it becomes now 2 minus 4, which equals 2 to the negative 4. And remember, we have to write these with positive exponents, so this becomes 1 over 2 to the 4 now, to make that positive. So that's your answer, 1 over 2 to the 4. Okay, let's do our next one. We need a lot of room to work here. And these can almost become overwhelming. It's like, okay, there's so much to do. Where do I start? Just start with your top. Take it one little step at a time. Don't feel like you have to do everything at once. Like you saw there, I had a lot. And once you get used to these, you can start combining steps and everything. But, oh, I forgot something. Raise to the 2. Alrighty. This 2 goes to everything. So it's 2 to the 2. People always forget this portion of it. Y to the 2. X to the negative 4 times 2. And then at the bottom, remember, we're adding these. So x can't combine with, so it's going to be 2 in the front. X can't combine with anything. And then it's going to be y, 3 plus 2. And we're adding them because it's multiplying here. We're multiplying these because it's being raised here. So let me go ahead and simplify here. I'm going to put another color. So it's going to be 2 to the 2, y to the 2, x to the negative 2. I'm sorry, x to the negative 8. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Down here it's going to be 2, x, y to the 5th. Now remember, when we're dividing, we subtract our exponents. So this is going to be 2 to the 2, that's the top, minus 1, that's the bottom. Y, 2, that's the top, minus 5, that's the bottom. X, negative 8, that's the top, minus 1, that's the bottom. Well, this reduces to 2 to the 1, y to the negative 3, x to the negative 9. And then you bring all of your negatives to the bottom. So it's going to be 2 to the top, y to the 3, x to the 9. 2 over y to the 3, x to the 9. And that's B. Okay, next thing here is we're going to rewrite our fractional exponents. Remember, we want to have an exponential form instead of this. And remember the little formula, and I don't know how the notes did it. It might be different here. That equals x over to raise to the b over a. Okay. So here we have a x that's being square rooted, then raised to 3. So really, and then let me rewrite another one here for you. Same thing here. Okay, so here we go. K to the 3 over 2, because this is a square root, so that's going to be a 2 there. So it's k to the 3 over 2. Okay, let's go backwards now. So if this is being raised 4 to the 3rd, right? We're going to go backwards. It's going to be in the square root. When the square root's going to be 7p. That 3 is a, so that would go in here. That 4 is b, and remember the b goes on the outside. So that's why the answer is B. So you might want to write this down when you're doing your test. Well, let's do another one. So 4n goes into the root. That top one is b, and b goes on the outside. That bottom one of 3 is what goes inside the square root, because that's a, so it goes 3. It's a cube root, not a square root. And now we have b as the answer, because anything raised to 1 is itself, so you don't have to mess with that. Okay, now we're going to simplify these by using our exponential rules and everything we've done so far. Remember, when you have an exponent raised to an exponent, you multiply them. So 6 times 1/2 is 3. So this is b to the third. 49, x to the fourth, 1/2. So it's going to be our rule, so it's going to be 49 raised to 1/2, because it goes to both of them. And then it's going to be k times 4 times 1/2. Okay, well, 49 raised to 1/2 is the same thing as the square root of 49. Okay? And then k, 4 to the 1 times 1/2 is k to the 2. Square root of 49 is 7, and that's k squared. That's a. All right, now you're going to name each polynomial by degree and number of terms. And remember, there's a chart about that we gave in the notes. So you look at the highest degree, which is 6. It goes x to the 1 is linear, x to the 2 is quadratic, x to the third is cubic, x to the fourth is quartic, x to the fifth is quintic, and then above that, they just name it by their degree. So if it's x to the 6th, that would be 6th degree. So it'd be 6th degree if it's 6th, 5th degree if it's 5th. I'm sorry, not 5th. 5th is quintic. 6th degree if it's 6th, and so higher. So 7th degree, 8th degree, 9th degree. So of course this is a 6th degree. And then you count how many terms there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. Remember, if it's 1 term, it's a monomial. 2 terms, it's a binomial. 3 terms, it's a trinomial. And then after that, they name it with 4 terms, 5 terms, 6 terms. So this is a 6th degree with 5 terms. There's no special name for either of those, okay? Now, this is a linear because I have an exponent of 1, and it's a monomial because there's only 1 term. So it's a linear monomial. Here we have a 7th degree. Now this is specific, so I need you to look at this. People just look at this one and say, oh, why isn't that a 5th degree? It's not, or a quintic. It's not a quintic because you have to look at the highest degree. And the highest degree is 7. So I don't have these in order sometimes. So make sure you're looking at that. So that's a 7th degree polynomial with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. Here's another linear monomial. For these, when you're adding monomials, or adding polynomials, sorry, I'm getting my words all mixed up, you just add them and combine like terms is what we really should be saying when we're adding. So adding's a little bit easier, so I'm not going to worry about the parentheses. When you're adding polynomials, don't worry about the parentheses and just go ahead and write everything out. So here we go. And then you just combine like terms. So you look for all the x's with the thirds. So that's 6x third plus 6x to the third is 12x to the third. And then you look at the squareds. Minus 4x squared plus 7x squared is plus 3x squared. And that's your answer. I mean, these aren't tough. Okay, let's do this next one. And remember, we're adding these, so we don't have to worry about the parentheses. And I like to go ahead and add my top exponents together first. So p to the fourth is my top one. Negative 6p plus to the fourth plus 6p to the fourth just cancels each other out. So that's 0. So now we just have p plus 8p, which is just 9p. Okay, here's another addition. So we got 3r plus r to the third plus r to the fourth plus 8r to the third plus 3r to the fourth. So we're going to combine our highest exponents first. So 3r to the fourth plus r to the fourth is going to be 4r to the fourth. R to the third plus 8r to the third is going to be 9r to the third. And then I just have my 3r by itself. Here I'm not going to write it out. My x to the third doesn't combine with anything, so it's just going to be minus x to the third. My 8x plus 4x is 12x, and then I have my minus 2 minus 3, which is minus 5. Now, negative, or when you subtract, is when you're going to have to be careful, and kids always forget to distribute the negative. Okay? Always remember to distribute that negative. So that minus goes to the minus 5x to the fourth. Minus 7x squared is a ding-ding, so that becomes a plus 7x squared. Minus 8 becomes a ding-ding, that becomes a positive 8. Now you can combine like terms. I'm going to do my fourths first. So I got 8x to the fourth minus 5x to the fourth. This is 3x to the fourth. I got 2x squared plus 7x squared is 9x squared. And then I got minus 1 plus 8, which is plus 7. So you got 3x to the fourth, 9x squared plus 7. Here is another one where we're adding. We got lucky out with all these adding, but I don't know what the test is. So 6x squared minus 6x squared is just 0. Minus 5x plus 7x is 2x. That's where the 2x comes from. And then 7 plus negative 2 is 5. All right, again, rewrite these and distribute your negative. Don't forget to distribute that negative. So minus 5 minus plus 473 is minus 4v3, and then minus 7v to the fourth. Then combine all your to the fourths. So negative 8 minus 7 is negative 15v to the 4. And then you look at your 3s. So I got negative 3v minus 4v, which is minus 7v to the third. And then you got 1 minus 5, which is minus 4. And that's why we have D as the answer there. All right, so here we're going to get minus 8x squared. This is our last one. Then we're going to multiply polynomials. So we've added polynomials, we've named them, we've subtracted them. Next we're going to multiply. All right, so remember to distribute your negative. I don't know why I wrote it down when it's up there. That's annoying. So minus 4x squared is a plus. It's a ding-ding. And you got minus 6x squared. Minus 3x is a plus 3x. And then you just combine like terms. So the first thing I'm going to look for are my 4s. So that's 2x to the fourth plus 4x to the fourth, which is 6x to the fourth. 2s, you got negative 8 minus 6, which is negative 14x squared. Then you look at just your x's. You got plus x and plus 3x. You got plus 4x. So there you go. Here, this is just multiplying a monomial by a binomial. This is super easy. I'm not going to write this out. It's just distributing. So it's 7. So it's 7 times, I hate when it does that. So it's 7 times 2x, which is 14x. 7 times minus 1 is minus 7. 2 times 5n is 10n. 2 times minus 5 is negative 10. Here we're going to have a binomial by a binomial, and when you do that, remember you must FOIL, which is first, outer, inner, last. I don't really like that because I got confused as a kid of which ones are first, which ones are last. How do I know I'm making sure I'm doing this right? So I just tell you just to distribute the 7r to both of them, and then distribute the minus 7 to both of them. So I always write it like this. So 7r goes to the 3r, and then 7r goes to the minus 8. So 7r times 3r is 21r squared. 7r times minus 8 is 1428 minus 56r. Okay, and then you got to do the minus 7 times 3r, which is minus 21r. And then the minus 7 times minus 8, which is positive 56. And then you combine your like terms on the middle. So it's going to be 21t1r squared minus 77r plus 56. And then we look at our answers and see if it matches any, or it matches the right one. And let's see here. Oh no, they got 28. How did I do that wrong? No, they didn't. I'm looking at the wrong one. Yes, I got it right. 21r squared minus 77r plus 56. All right, let's do the next one. Okay, so it's going to be 4x plus 3 times 7x minus 3. And then remember, you want to multiply this one by both of them. And then you want to multiply the other one. So let's do that one first. So 4x times 7x is 28x squared. 4x times minus 3 is minus 12x. And then we're going to do 3 times 7x. 3 times negative 3. So 3 times 7x is 21x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And then you just combine like terms. So that becomes 28x squared. Minus 12 plus 21 is plus 9x minus 9. And you look down there, and that is the answer. Okay? Now, the reason I have you do it that way instead of foiling is because when you get to problems like this, it doesn't help you to foil. Because this isn't foiling. This is a binomial by a trinomial. So you're going to get more terms. Remember, the amount of terms you get is how you multiply them. So it's 2 terms by 3 terms. You should get 6 terms when you multiply these. So I'll show you here. So just do the same thing we did here, except this 6x goes to everything. So it goes to 4x, it goes to 5x, and it goes to 8. So 6x times 4x is 1224x cubed. 6x times 5x is 30x. 6x times 8 is 1224, 48x. And now we want to do the negative 8 times 4, the negative 8 times 5, and the negative 8 times 8. So negative 8 times negative 8 times 4x squared is negative 32x squared. Negative 8 times 5x is negative 40x. And the negative 8 times 8 is negative 64. Now, it's super easy to make a mistake with these. Any negative or any number mistake, or just a slight one, will cause you to get the wrong answer. So make sure you're being extra careful with how how you're doing these, okay? So combine like terms. So the x cubed doesn't combine with anything, so it just stays x cubed. The x squared doesn't combine with anything, so it just stays x squared. We have 3 just x's, which doesn't make sense. Yes. That should have been 30x squared. See, if we were in class, you all would have caught me on that one. Yeah, that should be 30x squared. My bad. So the 30x squared does combine with the negative 32x squared and gives you negative 2x. See how one little mistake can make the whole thing mess up? 48x minus 40x is positive 8x. And then you just got the negative 64. And then hopefully this is the answer and I didn't mess up somewhere else. So let's see here. 24x cubed minus 2x squared plus 8x minus 64. That's the answer. Okay, so let's do another one. Make sure I have enough room. There's a lot of work here. All right, remember we want to FOIL these. So 3b times 5b squared, 3b times 4b, 3b times 6. That's the first 3. So 3 times 5 is 15, b times b squared is b to the cubed. 3b times 4b is 12b squared. 3b times 6 is 18b. Okay, now let's do this one. So negative 6 times 5b, negative 6 times 4b, negative 6 times 6. So negative 6 times 5b squared is minus 30b squared. Negative 6 times 4b is negative 1224b. Negative 6 times 6 is minus 36. And then, my friends, you just combine like terms. So that b cubed doesn't combine with anything. The squareds do combine. 12 minus 30 is minus 18b squared. And then that should be 18b. See? I'm telling you, it's easy to make a mistake here. So 18 minus 24 is minus 6b. And then minus 36. So let's see if we got it right. We did. Now there are special cases. We have here a difference. We have conjugates. So remember, conjugates are when you have everything's the same, but one's plus and one's minus. So those are conjugates. And when you have conjugates, you have a difference of 2 squares. So r squared minus 8 squared. So r squared minus 64. Now you could FOIL this. You'd get r times r, which is r squared. R times 8, which is negative 8. 8 times r, which is positive 8. Those cancel out, so they go away. 8 times negative 8 is 64, negative 64. So that's how you do that. Here's another conjugate. Their difference of 2 squares, so 8p squared minus 8 squared. 8p squared is 64p squared minus 64. Please learn the difference of 2 squares. They're super important for calculus and other stuff. The next one are when you just square them. So those are called perfect square trinomials. And remember, there is a special formula for those. So this is when you do the, so here's let's bring this one up. So here's the plus and here's the minus. So we're going to do the plus first. So it's a squared, right? So it becomes a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So that's the plus, right? And remember, a is 7x, b is b, so we got 7x squared. And this is just easier to FOIL. Some people don't like this, and they just go ahead and FOIL. I'm one of those that just goes ahead and FOIL. Times b, which is 5. Now, here's what kids in calculus will do because they forget. It's easy to forget all this stuff, is they'll just say, oh, that's 40x9, that's 49x squared plus 25. No, no, no. You can't do that. So that becomes 49x squared. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 7 is 70x. 25 squared, or 25. And there's your answer. And then last but not least for this is when you subtract them. Remember, it's perfect square trinomial, so we're working on the subtraction. So it becomes a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So here's our last one. So we got 8n minus 5. So it becomes 8n squared minus 2 times 8n times 5 plus 5 squared. So that becomes 64n squared minus 80n plus 25. Okay, and that's how you do this test. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. But good luck.